We're here today on a review hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom under finding a good cause and agreement of the parties. We are live streaming. And I am recording to the Zoom cloud. I'm sorry, Miss Taylor. I didn't realize you were there. I just now saw you. Okay. So Miss Taylor's making our record. Okay, then we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Morning, Your Honor. Gene Graff and Michelle Silva on behalf of St. Francis, present, ready to proceed.
And Mullinex, attorney ad litem for the child, ready, Your Honor.
Okay, and Casa is also present with us. Looks like Ms. Hall, Ms. Monzingo. Looking to see if we got anybody else from Casa. I think that's it.
Barry Ellison, right here.
Ellison. Yeah, Mr. Ellison. Okay. All right. Well, I know what's been going on, obviously, from all the emails and everything. So have we got him in placement?
He did go to placement, and he ran the next day. He's still on runaway. He was placed into the St. George's on 2/14, and then on 2/15 he ran, and so he is still on runaway.
Okay, and has anybody been in contact with him?
Actually, Jamie has. She's the CASA worker.
Okay, before we get into all that, let me just ask her, what was the disposition on the criminal stuff? Is he done with all that, or is he just on bond, or what? Where do we stand?
I believe from what the attorney told us that he did just get an assault charge on his record, and that was the only one. The other one, they just took that one assault charge, but that was it. From my understanding, he just did time served. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. So was it on the original charge as far as we know?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, then I guess, Jamie, if you've had contact with him, then you may know more than any of the rest of us.
Well, I don't know a whole lot, but he did contact my husband, which is also CASA on his case. It's just another contact for him. They have a pretty good relationship, and so after he ran, the last number we had been trying to get in touch with him on, and so he actually texted my husband last week, I believe it was, and he just said, "Hey, I'm okay. I'm not living on the streets, but I'm not willing to come back into placement." And he said, "I've had enough. I can't do it anymore." So he said, my plan is to run till I'm 18. The special investigator contacted us, and we had talked with Michelle and Michaela and thought maybe if we could get him to agree to an unauthorized placement, that he would be willing to talk a little bit more. And so we did get in touch with him this past weekend. I talked to him about that and told him that it would entail the people he's living with getting their background checks done, and that Michelle would have to come and do a walkthrough on the house and whatnot. And he just said, I'm not willing. He was like, I don't want to put the people that I'm living with through all that. They're being nice enough to house me. So he said, I'm not willing to. He said he was washing cars for whoever he's staying with. I don't know if they have a side business doing that, but he's helping them. He was wanting his social and ID and his stuff from CARE. And I said, well, if you are willing to do the unauthorized placement, that's something that we could look into. But he just said, at this point, I just need to know when I turn 18, what's the next step and how do I go about getting my things. He did tell me, because I said, well, that's your choice, and I said, but there is a missing poster out for you, and probably every police officer in Houston has seen it. And he said, I'm not worried about that. I'm not in Houston. I'm not sure if I believe that or if that was just him talking. He did tell me that he was living with a dad and his son. again, how true that is, I don't know. So, but have not talked to him since then. I just said, please check in from time to time and let us know that you're okay and, you know, whatnot. And I'll see what I can do as far as trying to figure out something as far as getting your ID and stuff and what that's going to look like for you. But haven't heard back from him since.
Okay. Well, his birthday's March 21st, so it's coming up pretty quick. And, you know, you all have beat your head against this wall all you can. I think we just hold out and hopefully get a report from him every once in a while how he's doing. And then when he turns 18, I think then there's no question we need to send him his stuff and his documents. And what do we have? Did he ever get a driver's license? I mean, he wouldn't stay put long enough, you know.
He claims he has an ID of some sort. I'm not sure. He just said he needed what documents St. Francis had, and then he wanted his items from placement, clothes and shoes and whatnot.
Sure. Well, and you know, when he turns the day he turns 18, I have no problem with us turning those things over to him. And then, you know, all we can do is just kind of leave things open for a little while and see if he, you know, discovers it's not as easy or as great as he thought and he needs some help. So, you know, I think that's all we can do. He's had a little taste of reality with being in jail that long, and so at least he's got a roof over his head if he's being truthful about it. So I hope he does. But I don't know what
I do know that I do know that the special investigator did go out to a house, but they weren't able to find anybody. The person that was there is in a rehab facility. Something happened to them, and so they weren't there. They called numbers. They checked the number from where he's texting, and it came back as someone. Oh, I can't even remember. H. Lee, I believe, and they weren't able to find anything on that. And yeah, so far that's where we're at. He's blocked me, and so I have no way of even getting a hold of him because he's blocked my number.
Well, there's only so much y'all can do, really. And you've tried and tried and tried. You know, we've tried everything we can to reason with him and paint the picture for him. But, you know, I think we're just at a dead end, you know, until Braden ever decides that he wants some help and needs help and wants to do what that's going to require. So not really seeing that on the horizon, but, you know, maybe when we are ready to turn over his documents to him, we'll at least learn a little bit about where he's at and who he's with. And, you know, maybe we can at least try to get word to those people or that individual, whoever's the adult in the household. You know,
I did ask him, I said, are you at least going to tell me where you are so that I know you're safe? He said, yeah, when I turn 18, I'll tell you where I am and who I'm with. So hopefully he will.
And you know, and that's great. And then maybe at that point we can try to prevail on whoever's sort of in charge of that household to say, hey, just somebody periodically check in, because he has some options that he can exercise even if he's left care. And just so they know that, you know, how to contact, you know, the key people, and if he needs something or he's thinking about going to a trade school or, you know, whatever. So, you know, we can assure them at that point. I mean, we're not going to be digging around in their business, because we're not, you know, but it's just knowing that if he needs something, we're here for a while. So hate to throw in the towel, but I don't know what else we can do at this point, y'all. And unless anybody's got some real great idea.
The only thing I would say, Judge, is as my partner is fond of saying, we don't always know what kind of impact we've had on a person's life. That may come later, but with the effort everybody put in, hopefully that changes the path he's on, going forward, if not immediately, long term. That's all, that's kind of all we can hope for.
Well, I really appreciate all of CASA's effort in this case with this young man, but and I've had other kids age out and basically be, missing from our, radar for a couple of years, and then something happens and they've reached out to their CASA. So it happens, and I kind of hope he'll do it in time where we could be of some real use to him. But that ball's in his court. So Ms. Mullinax, anything to report?
No, Your Honor, I don't have any additional information. I think Jamie's the one that has all the info. So,
Okay. Has he blocked you?
I don't have the number that they got a text from. So if Jamie wants to send it to me, I can try to contact him.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt.
To you.
Just one more text message or something, maybe, to just reassure that, we get it. He's a big boy now, and he's going to be on his own here in less than 30 days. But here's how he can contact you if he needs you. All right. Well, I sure appreciate everybody. And, we will, I think, we'll keep it on the calendar right now. We've got another little review set for May 28th. So we can just do a quick check-in, see if we've learned anything, heard anything. And, if we get to that date and haven't, and y'all will just sign off on an agreed order, that's fine. But we'll keep checking in for certainly the next year. All right. Thank y'all so much. I hope y'all have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You'll take care, everybody.
Okay. You too.
Thanks, Jerry.
We're here today set for our adversary hearing. We are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We're live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record this morning. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Morning, Your Honor. Eugene Graff and Brianne Cano, on behalf of the department, present and ready to proceed.
Aaron Mullinax for the mother, Heather Wagner. She is present. We are ready.
Bethany Stevens for the father, Mr. Pendergraph. I am present. I've tried to contact my client and have had no success.
Bailey Sapien on behalf of the children.
Okay, and CASA is also present with us today. Okay, then. Mr. Graff, any announcements to make? Are we ready to call witnesses?
I think we're ready to call witnesses, Your Honor. I know Ms. Mullinax circulated an exhibit. If she wants to just make a motion on that, I don't have an objection to entering that if we want to take care of that before we begin testimony.
Sure, that'd be fine.
Judge, it's Mother's Exhibit A. It's pictures of the home that she's currently residing in. I believe everybody received that. So if nobody else has any objections, then I would go ahead and ask to admit Exhibit A.
No objection.
No objection.
Without objection.
Okay, I'm pulling it up. I saw the email, but I hadn't looked at it. Because I don't until they're introduced. All right, then Mother's Exhibit A will be admitted into evidence. Okay. All right, then, Mr. Graff. Who's first?
Ms. Cano, please.
All right, if you will raise your right hand for me. Mr. Graff, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Cano, you are employed by DFPS, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you signed the affidavit and filed the petition in this case, did you not?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And you were the assigned FBSS specialist. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And just as a preliminary matter, Mom is present. Mr. Pendergraft, are you still working on having him officially served?
Yes, I spoke with him yesterday, and he did say that he was going to attend.
Okay. And were you able to provide him with a Zoom link?
Yes, I sent it over via text message.
Okay. And then when were you assigned to this matter?
On October 28th.
Okay. And as far as the allegations in the affidavit that you filed, are they true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Okay. And who are the parents of these two children?
Heather Wagner and John Pendergraft.
Okay. And what were the allegations that prompted the department involvement in your subsequent assignment to the case?
We're involved due to domestic violence between John and Heather.
Okay. And basically at the outset of the case, this was assigned to FBSS, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So is it fair to say that you more or less did the investigation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what did the investigation entail and what did it reveal?
The home conditions where Heather Wagner was staying and her mental health.
Okay.
The home conditions were cluttered. There were concerns for Heather's mental health.
Okay. And mother's living situation was what at the time you were assigned?
Heather Wagner is living with a friend that she had met at Walmart.
Okay. And that's her current situation as well, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so who are the other adults in the home?
Just Miss Kiker and Heather Wagner.
Okay. Ms. Kiker is the roommate you just referred to that she met at Walmart?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And have you had an opportunity to meet with Ms. Kiker?
Yes, sir.
And any concerning issues that the department has with regard to the roommate?
Yes, so Miss Cocker, she has stated to me that she is on the
Yes, we hear.
spectrum.
Okay, I think I heard a hearsay objection.
Correct.
Okay, sustained.
Okay. Without referring to what
Okay.
Ms. Kiker said to you, you indicated that the department has some concerns. What are the concerns that you have and the department has about the Ms. Kiker?
Her unwillingness for change to the home. She has stated to me that she doesn't like.
Yeah, you can't say what she said to you, but you can say what your concerns are.
Okay. So my concerns are that she doesn't like change in the home.
Okay. Is that the only concern you have?
Yeah.
Okay. And how old are the children?
We have a 10-month-old and a 2-month-old.
Okay. And the 2-month-old is Caden, and Caden was in the hospital at the time you filed. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And has Caden been in the hospital for how long? And has Caden been released?
Yes, Caden has been in the hospital since birth. He was just released yesterday. So he's now in placement.
And what is your understanding as to why he was hospitalized for all this time?
Caden was born premature, sorry.
Premature, okay. And does Ms. Wagner have any other children besides Samuel, who you've already referenced, and Caden?
Yes, she does, but none of them are in her care.
Okay. And does she have contact with them?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Do you know what their ages are and where they're living? I think we.
No,
Okay.
I'm not aware.
Okay. We lost your video, Brianne. That's what that pause was about. Okay. And what about Ms. Kiker? Are you aware whether or not she has any children?
We may have lost her. Let's see.
There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. No,
Does
Miss
Go ahead.
Cocker does not have any children.
Okay. And with regard to Ms. Wagner's other children, where are they living? If you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're living.
Okay. Do you have any knowledge about whether or not she's parented those children or why they're not with her?
Past drug use and I'm sorry, what was the other question?
Is that the reason why they're not living with her, is past drug use? Any other reason?
Not that I'm aware.
Do you know how long they've been out of her care?
No.
Okay. Do you know who they're living with?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay. Last question on this topic. Do you know how? Do you know how long? Well, I'll strike that. So, does this cause you to have concerns about the fact that she has none of her other children in her care, about her ability to care for these two young children?
Yes, because she hasn't raised any of her children.
Okay. And with regard to Ms. Kiker, outside of anything she may have said to you, do you have concerns about her ability to function as another responsible adult in the home who could take care of these two young children?
Yes, I do, because she's also hasn't raised any kids or been around any kids.
Okay. And then you said Caden was born in January. We already addressed the medical issues and his recent discharge, so I'll move on from there. With regard to the living conditions, was there a history of unsanitary living conditions in Mother's home?
Yes.
Okay. And was Samuel living with Ms. Wagner when you first got involved with the case?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point, was he placed out of the home?
Yes, he was.
And was that the mother's choice to place him out of the home?
Yes.
Okay. And approximately when was that?
Probably like the month before she had Caden, a month or month and a half before she had Caden.
Okay. And so is it your understanding she placed Caden out of the home just so she could deal with the birth of Caden, or was there another reason?
That's correct.
Okay.
She was hospitalized in Lubbock.
Okay. And do you know approximately when that was?
A month or a month and a half before Caden was born.
Okay. Okay. And then after Caden was born, did Samuel come back into mother's care?
No, he never did. He stayed in where she had placed him.
Okay. Was there a discussion about moving him at some point?
Yes.
Okay. What was that about?
Heather wanted Samuel to come back to the home, but the home was still inappropriate, and Mom had not addressed any of the mental health concerns.
Okay. So was it at your request that she left the child where he was placed at that moment in time?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And it sounds like you were able to have some access to the family home. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Were you able to see the whole house or just parts of the house?
I was able to see the living room and kitchen of Heather,
Okay.
where Heather Wagner was staying.
Okay. And how often were you able to do that during the time you were assigned to the case?
2 to 3 times a month, sometimes more.
Okay. But it was only the kitchen area and the living room area?
No, I would see the whole house at least once a month, but every
Okay.
visit it would be, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Every visit at least the living room area and kitchen area.
Okay. So it sounds like you were there a lot. Did you have concerns about the condition of the home based on your observations? And if so, what were the concerns?
Yes, so the home was always cluttered. There was always boxes at least knee high. There was always tip over concerns or hazards. Uh, I know one visit there was alcohol within reach of Samuel. Medicine that was like easy access for Samuel was left out. Just let me see. No, one time there was his formula was left open. All his cans of formula was left open, and they do have a cat, so I thought that was very unsanitary for the baby. Um,
Okay. Any other concerns, or is that pretty much it?
Yeah, and every visit, like mom would she would just be getting out of bed, and you could tell like she hadn't showered or tend to to Samuel the way that she needed to, because like Samuel would always be in his walker, um, with the dirty diaper and not really dressed as he should be.
So you would say he was neglected then during the time you observed her with
Yes.
him? Okay. And with regard to first the condition of the home, did you offer assistance with cleaning up the home?
Yes.
And what kind of assistance was offered?
Um, Myself and investigator Little, we actually helped her clean the home. We provided cleaning supplies to her, and then we offered her services to address her mental health.
Okay. And then were Ms. Wagner and her roommate able to consistently keep the place clean, or did the condition fluctuate?
No, they weren't able to keep the home clean.
Okay. That was a constant topic of conversation with them, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And what you mentioned medicine being out and formula being opened and the cat and so forth. Were there any other specific safety threats that you were concerned about?
Also, cleaning supplies on the floor, just in reach of Samuel, and also his safety, his safe. I'm sorry, where he was sleeping, it wasn't safe. Um, the initial visit, there was like little toys that were choking hazards. Just like I was always addressing safe sleep for Samuel.
All right. So it wasn't a one-time situation. It was ongoing.
Right.
Okay. And then with regard to mother's mental health, um, was she candid with you about any mental health struggles she might be having?
Yes. So from the initial visit, she did tell me that she was struggling with depression, and throughout the case, it got worse.
Okay. And then I noticed in your affidavit that at one point there was a discussion about her being in bed for a number of days. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
How
So
long?
before removal, she did let me know that she had been in bed for 4 days.
Okay. And did you offer any assistance to help her address the mental health issues?
Yes, I did.
What did you do? What did you offer?
So we offered her individual counseling and assistance through Helen Fairby.
Okay. And did you also offer transportation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was she able to follow through prior to filing the case?
She did attend a couple of counseling sessions, but she didn't follow through with that. And she didn't follow through with her mental health evaluation with Helen Fairby.
Okay. So the extent that she did participate a couple of counseling sessions, was that sufficient from your perspective to adequately address the mental health concerns?
No, I don't think it did.
Okay. And then you've had an opportunity to review the exhibit photos that mother's attorney shared yesterday. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And do they appear to be true and correct photos of her home?
Yes.
Okay. And are they pictures of the entire home or just kind of a narrow slice?
Just the living room area and the kitchen area.
Okay. And assuming that those are true and correct as to the present condition, does that change the concerns you've discussed or you testified to about safety threats to these two very young children in the home?
No, sir.
And why not?
Because from the pictures, I still have safety concerns for both kids, and I just don't think it's safe for them, and I feel that mom needs to get to the bottom of it and have her mental health addressed.
Okay. What are the specific safety concerns that you saw in the photos?
There's tip over hazards, cleaning supplies in reach of the children, um, just the clutter, the stacked boxes. Um, it's just very concerning.
And do those photos represent the condition that the home was typically in when you visited? Do they represent an improvement or is it about the same?
About the same.
Okay. And you believe you made reasonable efforts to avoid removing the children?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what reasonable efforts did you make?
Well, offering services, and then after she told me about her being in the bed for 4 days, we did have to put in place a PCSP. So we did try to do that, but she did not allow it. She refused it. She no longer wanted her children to be in the care of Paul and Cindy. And
Okay.
she did offer an aunt, but at that time we couldn't approve the aunt for placement.
Okay. And she had disqualifying history?
No. So she was kind of iffy about if she wanted to take on both children, and we wanted to keep the children together. And also, we felt like we didn't need to force the placement.
Okay. Does mother's untreated mental health and inability to consistently keep the home in a safe and sanitary condition cause a danger to Samuel and Caden's physical health or safety caused by the mother's failure to address the mental health and keep the home clean?
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain to the court how those issues endanger the children's physical health or safety?
Yes, so as I previously stated, like there's just tip over hazards, concerns like of the kids getting into things they shouldn't be because of things left out. Um, I'm sorry, second. And then just mom's mental health. I don't think it's safe um, for a 10-month-old and a 2-month-old to be in that type of living situation.
Okay. And then does Caden's very young age and recent hospital release heighten your concern for his safety?
Yes.
Okay. And would her need to focus on the baby's need cause you to have concerns about her ability to supervise 1-year-old Samuel, given all the issues you've identified?
Yes.
Is the father available or otherwise able to parent his children?
No.
Why not?
Father has restrictions for seeing the kids. He's not allowed to see the kids at
Okay.
this time.
What is that based on?
Because he assaulted a pregnant person.
Okay, so he has legal restrictions against his current ability to have contact or placement with his children. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Is it, in your opinion, contrary to the children's welfare to remain in the home or to return home?
Yes.
And why is that?
Because mom hasn't addressed her mental health.
Okay. And is the urgent need for protection of the children require their immediate removal?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a substantial risk of continuing danger to the children if they were allowed to return home at this time?
Yes.
Okay. And is it for the reasons you've already stated, the mental health and the condition of the home?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what actions have you taken to locate a placement for the children other than placing them in substitute care? You mentioned a maternal aunt. Is there any other relatives you have looked at or are looking at?
So there was a great grandmother who was provided to us too, but from aunt's perspective, she's not able to care because she has early stages of dementia.
All right. And then as far as the father, has he identified any potential relative or fictive kin caregivers?
Just that same aunt and great grandmother.
Okay. And is that something you're willing to look at, or what's your position on that at this time?
Yes, we could look into it.
Okay. Now, has Dad identified any concerns with any of the caregivers proposed by Ms. Wagner?
No.
Okay. Is it in Samuel and Caden's best interest for the department to be named as temporary managing conservator at this time?
Yes.
Okay, and why is that?
Because I feel like it's not safe for Samuel and Caden to return home until mother's mental health concerns are addressed.
Okay. And then have the parents or any family members with knowledge been asked to complete an ICWA questionnaire?
Yes, mother did complete one.
Is there any reason to believe the child is or may qualify for membership in an Indian or Native American tribe?
No.
Okay. That's all the questions I have for now. Pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Just as clarification, Ms. Cano, so at the time of removal, neither child was in the home.
That's correct.
And mother in your opinion, mother was not coping with the conditions of the home or with her mental health with neither child present.
That's correct.
Would it concern you to add in the stress of two children under the age of 1 into that situation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the baby healthy or have any special needs at this point in time?
Not at this point.
Okay, so when the baby was discharged from the NICU, everything was okay. Nothing special is being required for Caden.
Yes, well, they did recommend that Caden receives ECI services
Okay,
just to ensure that he's on track.
Yeah, because he was a preemie.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. And does Samuel have any special needs?
Samuel is also participating with ECI, but he doesn't have any special needs.
Okay, why is ECI working with him?
For speech and occupational therapy, because he was a little behind when we first became involved.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Molinax?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Kano, do you know why it took from September 3rd when the report was received until October 28th for you to become involved in the case?
I'm not aware.
So you don't know anything that happened prior to you being involved on October 28th of 24?
I know of the allegations
Okay.
and the reason why it was referred over to me.
And so originally the allegations were for the assault, and then when you go visit her, the state of the home is a concern, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you had said that she had gone to a couple counseling sessions, but that's all she's done. That was right before she was put in the hospital for a month. Is that right?
Correct.
And so she was doing counseling, I think it was maybe with Tina Souter up until her hospitalization?
I think she did do a virtual, do one of her sessions through the phone, on the phone.
And then you talked about her not following up with her mental health.
Right.
Was it you that actually took her and they couldn't see her?
Yes, that did happen once.
Okay. And so she willingly went and they couldn't see her on that day because she didn't have an appointment, or do you know?
Because they were overbooked that day.
And after that, not too far after that is when she was placed in the hospital, correct?
Correct.
And you talked about some safety hazards. One, you said that there was a visit where there was alcohol in reach, and that was actually Ms. Kuyker's, and she threw that away at that, correct?
That's correct.
And so that was handled at that visit. Would you agree?
Correct.
The medication that you were talking about, was it in a drawer and had lids on it?
No, it was just in a pull-out drawer.
So it was in a drawer, right? And was the drawer closed?
Yes, but it still was Samuel could still access it because it was in the middle of the floor.
Did you
Okay.
say,
Ms. Kano, you were breaking up a little bit. I want to make sure Ms. Taylor got everything. Would you repeat your last answer?
Samuel still had access to that drawer because it was in the middle
So
of the
what-
floor.
Hang on, Ms. Mullenix. We still lost the first part of that sentence.
Okay. Samuel still had access to the drawer because it was in the middle of the living room floor.
Can I proceed? Yeah. You say it's in the middle of the living room floor. What kind of drawer is it that you're talking about?
Like one of those plastic pull-out drawers. There's 3 of them. It's actually in the picture that she submitted to the court.
And did you look at the medication and it had all the appropriate lids on them?
They did have lids on them.
Okay. Then you talked about all of Samuel's formula being left open. Where did you put that in the affidavit?
I'm not sure.
And so you say all of his cans of formula. How many cans of formula did he have that were open?
There was like 3 cans of formula left open.
And that was in the kitchen or where?
It was in the living room area.
And did you ask how long those had been open?
Yes, I addressed the situation that visit.
So you say you addressed the situation. Was it taken care of?
Yes.
You also talked about cleaning supplies being on the floor. Was that also taken care of when you pointed it out?
Yes.
Earlier you said that there was a problem with Samuel's, I think it's his crib or where he sleeps, that it wasn't safe. You only put that in here one time and that it was rectified, but you said a moment ago it was ongoing. So why didn't you put in the affidavit that there was more than one time you had the issue?
I'm unaware.
You're unaware of why you didn't put it, or you're unaware of the issue ongoing?
Of why it's not stated in the affidavit.
And how long was Heather, or do you know what day she got out of the hospital?
Not off the top of my head, I don't.
Okay. And you said that Caden is 2 months old, but he's just about a month and a week old. Is that right? If you're
oh yes, yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's my mistake.
And so he was in the NICU until you said yesterday. Is that right?
That's correct.
And so you talked about that Heather had been in bed for 4 days, and your affidavit says that was on February 11th. Would that be safe to say?
That's correct.
And neither of the children was at the home when she was in bed for 4 days, correct?
That's correct.
And you talked about talking to her about a PCSP on that day, and she refused. Is that right?
That's correct.
And was it you that told the hospital not to release Caden to Heather?
That's correct.
Was that before you had an order or after?
Before.
Did you say before?
Yes. Well, it was both.
So before that, you didn't have an order and you let them know not to allow her to take the child at all, even though you did not have an order, correct?
Correct.
Why would you tell them that if you didn't have an order?
Because her living situations were not safe.
And would you agree with me that Caden probably isn't able to walk or crawl at this point?
Caden isn't.
Right. So that's my question. And would you agree with me that Samuel has a walker that he uses at the home?
Yes.
With regard to the reasonable efforts to prevent or eliminate the removal, you had offered her family-based safety services, and she was, before her hospitalization, would you agree with me that she was attempting to comply with those safety services?
Yes.
And at some point you decided on a removal. Why not request an order to participate in the services?
Because there was an immediate danger for the children.
And when was the last time Samuel had been in the home for this immediate danger?
Before she was hospitalized.
So around the middle of December, would that be correct to say, or before?
I'm not sure when she was hospitalized.
Would you agree with me that it was probably 6 weeks to 2 months before the removal was done?
Yes.
If she were ordered to work services, is that something, I mean, are there services for her to work in order to help her clean up this house and get it to where the children can stay there?
I mean, we offered services to her to help address the home situation, and it still wasn't improving.
Yeah, so
I would say no.
So you would say no, that there are not services available for her to be ordered to work?
I'm talking about the conditions of the home.
Right. So my question is, if the judge were to order her to work services as opposed to removing the children, are there services for her to be able to work for the department to help her with the condition of the home?
Yes, there are services.
And is it correct that she was attempting to work the services, that she was high risk, had a high risk pregnancy happening at the time?
That's correct.
And did she indicate to you that she was unable to do certain things because of her high risk pregnancy?
She indicated that she wasn't able to pick up a certain amount of weight.
And she also said she didn't work at the time because she was pregnant, correct?
I can't recall. I do recall the weight limit.
And so after she got out of the hospital, what attempts did the department make to help her engage in the services?
I was still checking in with her to see if she had been engaging in her mental health services.
Did you take her to the Helen Farabee Center again?
No.
I'd pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Stevens?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Cano, first of all, I've got contact information for the dad. Can you email me later and just make sure that we have the same contact information?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, I wanted to ask you, you said your concern is that mom doesn't like change in the house. Is not liking change a cause for removal under the law?
No, I didn't say that. I said Miss Kiker doesn't like change to her home.
Okay. And you talked about how the child wasn't dressed for the day when you came over in the morning. He was still in PJs or something like that. Is that in the law? Are we supposed to have our children dressed at a certain time?
I said the initial visit, like
Objection non-responsive. Objection non-responsive.
Okay.
To respond.
I'm sorry, Mr. Graff, I couldn't hear you.
She didn't really get to respond before the objection was levied.
I didn't hear
the question.
I couldn't hear the response, so I haven't even heard it. So let's.
She said, well, the response she's giving in both instances is, I said, but I'm not asking her what she said. Based on what I heard her say, I'm asking questions that she is not responding to.
Okay, let's just, you all are kind of stepping on each other. So it's a little hard for me to, I don't know if Ms. Taylor's having a little bit of trouble, but let's kind of slow down a little bit. That will help everybody. So go ahead and ask your question again, Ms. Stevens.
Does the law require that children be dressed for the day by a certain time?
No.
You talked about how this mom hasn't gotten to raise a child before. Is it fair to say that no one raises a child until they do?
Yes.
Yeah, those were my only three things. Thank you. Pass the witness.
Okay. All right, then, Ms. Sagan.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Cano, during your visits at the home, was there running water?
Yes.
Okay, and electricity.
Yes.
Okay, so no concerns about utilities.
No, ma'am.
In the exhibits that mom provided, would you agree you can get around the house? There's walking areas to walk around.
Yes.
Okay. And the sink appears to be clean, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that was one of your concerns initially, right?
The sink?
Yes, ma'am.
Not that I could recall.
Okay, I thought I saw that in your affidavit. Maybe I did. In regards to mom being in bed for 4 days, was that before or after the birth of Caden?
After the birth?
Okay. Do you know how long after the birth?
No. Not off the top of my head.
Okay, but he's only a month old, right?
Right.
And Samuel, I know you said you had some concerns about little toys in his pack and play, but he did have somewhere to sleep on his own, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And prior to this domestic violence intake, had you ever received reports for Samuel's concerns about Samuel's safety?
No.
And you observed Samuel's body to be free of any marks or bruises, correct?
That's correct.
And during your home visits, Samuel was awake and alert, is that correct?
Yes.
I think
There
you
would,
answered, I couldn't hear you.
there would be times when he would be asleep.
Okay. Would that just be like a normal nap?
Yes.
Was there ever a time besides the time that Miss Wagner disclosed to you she was having trouble getting out of bed? Were there times you would go over in addition that Miss Wagner was in bed?
Yes.
Okay. To your knowledge, was Miss Wagner getting proper prenatal care for Caden?
When we came involved, she did. Before that, she wasn't.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Ms. Canna, yeah, if you'll repeat the first, I mean, you just need to repeat your answer again.
Before we became involved, no. But when we became involved, she did start going to the doctor. It was requested of her that she start going to the doctor.
Okay, and she complied with that.
Yes.
And to your knowledge, Ms. Kano, are there any medications that mom is supposed to be on right now by a doctor's order?
To my knowledge, no.
And when you say Samuel was in a dirty diaper, can you describe the diaper? Like, is it like, how old did you think it was?
I'm not sure how old it was, but you could tell because it was like it would be hanging off. It was hanging off of him.
Were there other diapers in the home for him to be changed into?
Yes.
And it sounds like he had plenty of formula, is that right?
That's correct.
To your knowledge, has mom been protective of Samuel since the domestic violence incident?
Yes.
and mom has Miss Kiker and then I think some neighbors down the street that provide support to her.
Yes, but she no longer wants the support of Cindy and Paul, the ones down the street.
Okay, she might not want the children there, but they're her support system. Is that accurate?
Not anymore.
Okay. And my last question for you, Ms. Cano, the exhibit provided by mom, is the house in this exhibit in better condition than when you first became involved?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Ms. Cano, are you aware of whether or not mom has followed up with her physician since the birth of the child?
The day that she had told me that she hadn't gone out of bed for 4 days, she had not followed up with her mental health services.
Did anybody discuss with her postpartum depression and whether or not she had any concerns about that or had talked with anybody about that?
No, that wasn't discussed. I did, however, recommend that she did reach out to her mental health services that day that I was out there, and she told me that she hadn't been out of bed for 4 days.
Was there any discussion about her following up with her own personal physician or OBGYN or just her PCP?
No, Your Honor.
All right. I recall reading in the affidavit that ECI had some concerns that she couldn't really elaborate on how much the child was being fed and when, and it's something to that extent. Was the department ever satisfied that the child was getting the correct formula? And I think this had to do with Samuel, not the baby.
That's correct. Yes, that was at the beginning of the case. But yeah, we did see improvement with Samuel's eating, especially when he went to stay with Cindy and Paul. So there was no further concerns for his eating.
The concern was when the child was still in the care of his mother.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Was the child ever diagnosed, as far as you know, during the early stages of this case, was the child ever diagnosed as being underweight or failure to thrive or anything of that nature?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Was it just more that she couldn't really quantify what he was getting and how much he was eating and when?
I'm not sure, Your Honor.
Well, did your affidavit state that there was a concern about the fact that she wasn't really able to tell you or ECI, I guess it was ECI, how much she was feeding him and how frequently?
Yes, there was a concern for that.
Was that concern ever alleviated? I guess that's what I'm trying to find out. Did we ever get to the bottom of that, or was it just improved when the child was placed elsewhere?
It was improved when the child was placed elsewhere.
All right. Okay, Mr. Pendergraft has logged in. I'm going to admit him. Stevens, do you need a few minutes to speak with him? You're muted, but I'm guessing that was a yes.
Yes, please.
Okay, let's make sure we've got him logged in, and then All right, Mr. Pendergraft, you're gonna need to unmute, sir. Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, your attorney, Ms. Stevens, is here. I'm gonna put you in a, what we call a breakout room. It's where you can talk with her confidentially.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. While we're doing this and taking this opportunity, does anybody else need a breakout room?
No, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Pendergraft, you're gonna get a prompt to go to room 1. You can say join.
Yes, ma'am.
And actually, Your Honor, I am getting requests from the supervisor. If Ms. Moore, Ms. Cano, and I can go into a breakout room. Ms. Moore is making that request.
Sure.
Thank you.
Let me get y'all in there.
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
My client can't find the get out of the break room button. Can you pull him back in?
I certainly can. And I've got some department people in a breakout room, so we're kind of waiting on them too.
And he apologizes for being tardy. He works the night shift and was trying to stay awake and accidentally drifted off, and that's why he's late.
Okay. All right, he should be back in now. Okay.
And Your
So-
Honor, may I run to the restroom while other people are in the breakout room?
Yeah, that's fine. We're giving everybody else a quick break, so just go ahead and we'll wait for them.
I'll be right back.
No problem. All right, I will make a note, since we announced at the beginning, I will make a note that Mr. Pendergraft has joined us. And he's had an opportunity to talk with his attorney in a breakout room. Okay. Let's see. All right, where were we? I interrupted because Mr. Pendergraft came to the waiting room.
I don't
Judge,
know
I think you had finished asking questions, and I think it was maybe back to Mr. Graff.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I couldn't quite remember if Ms. Sapien had completed.
I passed.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think I asked a few questions and then he came in the waiting room, I think, so.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just have a little redirect, Your Honor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Cano, based on some of the questions there asked, Samuel was basically thriving with Cindy and Paul when he was placed out of the home. Isn't it fair to say?
Object to leading.
All right, don't lead the
It's a
witness.
redirect question, Your Honor.
That's correct. It is. All right, you can answer the question.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And with regard to, and then that wasn't true during the time he was with Mom, is that right?
Yes.
Despite some improvement that you were asked about. Ms. Kiker, the issue with Ms. Kiker isn't it fair to say, based on your testimony, that she really wasn't able to demonstrate any capability in assisting the mother in addressing the home issues other than moving the bottle of alcohol? Is that right?
Object to speculation.
Well, I'm asking her what she observed. And if I need to rephrase the question, I'm happy to rephrase the question.
Okay, why don't you rephrase? I'll sustain as asked, but you can rephrase.
Okay, thank you. Based on your observations during the time you worked with this family, the issue with Ms. Kiker was primarily that she wasn't able to assist in addressing the home issues other than the example of moving the bottle of alcohol that you previously testified to. Is that right?
And Your Honor, I'd object to speculation. I believe that's the exact same question he just asked.
Oh,
Thank you, Your Honor. You can go ahead, Ms. Cano.
Yes, that's correct.
And go ahead.
And Miss Kiker has Asperger.
Okay.
Object to
And that-
relevance.
All right, I'll sustain, and if Mr. Croft, if you need to explore that and lay a foundation, that's fine.
Okay. Well, going back to your question about, or your prior testimony about Ms. Kiker having difficulty with change, is your concern about that because you understand her to have Asperger's?
That's correct.
Okay. And isn't it true that based on your prior testimony, every time you went out, there was a safety threat that you had to address with the two adults in the home?
Yes, almost every visit I was addressing something new.
Okay. And you identified in your affidavit things like peroxide, perfume, oils, lack of safety covers, extension cords, those kinds of things. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So that was a constant ongoing problem.
Yes.
Okay. And then counsel asked you about Tina Souter, and you indicated there was one session mom had attended via Zoom. The implication seemed to be that until she entered into, until you got involved with her, she had been consistently seeing Ms. Souter. Is that accurate to your knowledge?
Your Honor, I'd object. That's a mischaracterization of the question. I don't think anybody's testified that she was seeing Tina Souter before the department was involved. I don't think that's come out at all today.
I'll rephrase the question.
All right.
So counsel was asking you about mother's, I believe she was asking you about mother's participation in mental health treatment when you were on cross-examination. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. So when I asked you during your direct testimony, my notes indicate you had testified that she had attended one or two sessions of individual counseling. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And so that wasn't consistent mental health treatment. That was just one or two sessions that you're aware of that she had attended to address her mental health. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And so that's the concern of the overriding mental health issues not being addressed, right?
Correct.
Okay. And also there was a question about whether or not you had offered transportation after that initial ride to the Faraday Center, correct?
Correct.
But isn't it true that you documented in your affidavit that you had offered additional transportation, but the mother had told you that she had a ride?
That's correct.
Okay. And isn't it also true and also documented in the affidavit that you had offered, if the ride fell through, to provide additional transportation?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And then one last question regarding Ms. Kiker. Was the concern that you had to ask her to move the alcohol bottle per se? That was the concern, that there was an open alcohol, or there was an alcohol bottle within reach of the child?
Yes, that's concerned.
Your Honor, I object. I'm looking at Rule 611 from Texas Evidence, and it clearly states that you cannot use leading questions on redirect. I don't know where we got off on that, but I'm looking at the rule right now. It's Evidence Rule 611. You can look down on subsection C, and leading questions are only allowed on cross-examination and when a party calls a hostile witness an adverse party, or a witness identified with an adverse party. So I renew the objection to the state asking its own non-hostile witness leading questions on redirect. That's not allowed under the law.
And Your Honor, my response would be it's not a leading question. It calls for a yes or no answer. I'm not suggesting the response. I'm just asking her a yes or no question.
A leading question means a yes or no response. On direct and redirect, it should be open-ended. For example, who, what, when, where, how, why, and describe.
Well, I don't think it necessarily precludes a question that calls for a yes or a no. But Mr. Graff, let's just try to phrase your questions such that we're not suggesting an answer. That's a leading question, or we're suggesting.
I'll strike that question and move on. Okay, and okay, when you were asked about asking the hospital not to release the child, at that time, were you in the process of obtaining the pickup order when you asked the hospital to do that, or was that prior to seeking the pickup order?
Yes, it was in progress.
Okay. Okay, and there were also questions about mother attempting to comply. It's accurate. Is it accurate to say that mother was in fact attempting to comply with the services prior to filing?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, but was she adequately complying?
No.
Okay, and was there at that point a reason why you didn't file for an order to participate, as counsel asked you?
Yes, it was because I don't think the OTP would have changed the circumstances.
Okay, and
mom, she was willing to comply, but she just wasn't following through. So
okay.
a OTP wasn't necessary at the time, wasn't needed.
And also, based on your prior testimony, you were concerned about an imminent threat.
That's correct.
Okay, and then okay, and then the last question, with regard to the present condition of the home based on the photographs, have you been able to see the home, or since you filed, or well, I'll stop the question there. Have you been able to see the home since you filed the petition?
No, sir, I haven't.
Okay, so based on the photograph you observed, would you say that as far as the mobility that was previously testified to, would you say it's ideal, merely adequate, or marginal at best?
I'd say it's not ideal.
Okay, and would it be more or less ideal if you put two young children into that space?
Yeah, I think that it's very concerning because mom is not taking care of her mental health and just taking on two babies.
I hear you. Okay, she's breaking up, so she's probably not hearing you. Okay, just Ms. Cano, just a minute. All right, Ms. Molinax, just to confirm, your objection was non-responsive to the question?
Correct.
Okay, all right, I'll sustain. It was not responsive to the question, so his question was, is it more or less ideal if you added two children into the mix? Essentially, that was his question.
Less ideal.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
Okay, Ms. Molinax, do you have any further questions for Ms. Cano?
Yes. You said you hadn't been able to see the home since the removal. Have you attempted to see the home since the removal?
No, I haven't.
And you said that the one or two sessions with Tina Sauer was not, I guess, consistent medical treatment or whatever it was you said. Do you know what she addressed in those sessions?
It was to address her mental health.
Right, but you don't know what was specifically addressed. Would that be safe to say?
Yes.
As a part of the family-based safety services, was there a requirement for a certain number of sessions?
Yes.
What was the requirement?
6 sessions.
And when was that plan put in place, or when was the counseling set up with Tina Sauter?
Towards the beginning of the case.
And is she also at Helen Farabee, or is that somewhere else that she goes for those counseling sessions?
It's with Rolling Plains Counseling.
So it's at a different facility?
Yes.
All right. And you talked about the different things that happened every single time you were there, hazards. Were they addressed every single time you brought them up?
Yes.
And with regard to Ms. Kiker, earlier you consider or you categorized her as being unwilling for change. She just needs some time to be able to adapt to the change, correct? She's not unwilling.
Some things she was unwilling to change.
Did you note any of that in your affidavit?
I can't recall.
And just a few more questions. You had some concerns about Heather not raising any of her children, but your affidavit says that she has no CPS history, correct?
That's correct.
And she followed up with ECI and was getting Samuel ECI treatment. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And even though he was maybe doing better with Cindy and her husband, would you agree with me that he never looked like he was malnourished while you saw him?
That's correct.
And after she was in bed, or I guess before she was in bed for 4 days, were you aware that Heather had had a C-section and a hysterectomy?
Yes.
Have you talked to her since the removal?
Yes.
Are you aware that she's still healing from those at this time?
No.
And pass the witness.
Okay, Ms. Stevens?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Ms. Kano, you had testified that there were no marks on the child. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Was there any evidence of drug use in the home?
No.
Okay. Had the mother abandoned the child?
No.
Was there any evidence of sexual abuse?
No.
Was there any evidence of emotional abuse?
No.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Sapien?
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay, let me, and if anybody's said this, I've missed it, and I don't think I saw it in the affidavit, maybe more just implied. But does Ms. Kiker actually own this home, or is she on the lease, or what is the situation?
Yes, it's Miss Kiker's home.
Okay, it's her personal home.
I'm not sure if she owns it, but Heather is staying with her.
All right, is Ms. Wagner paying her rent or contributing to utilities or anything? Do we know?
No, she's not.
Ms. Kiker's just allowing her to stay there?
Yes.
Okay. So ultimately, the decision about what's going to happen within the walls of that home is up to Ms. Kiker.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, Mr. Groff, any further questions of this witness?
Just one last question. Ms. Cano, did Heather tell you herself how many children she'd had?
Yes, she did, but I can't recall
Okay.
the number.
And you previously testified that drugs were involved. Did she tell you what drugs were involved?
I can't recall her drug choice from the past.
Did she indicate whether or not drugs were the reason, or was there another reason why she was not raising those children?
Yes, she did. It was because drugs.
You were kind of breaking up there.
I'm not for sure for all of the children. I'm not for sure if drugs was the cause for all of the children, her not raising all of the children, but I know she did imply that for some of the kids it was because of her drug use.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Nothing further. Pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Mullinex, anything further?
Just briefly, has there been any indication at all that Heather is currently using methamphetamine in this case?
No.
Pass the witness.
Ms. Stevens?
Is there any indication at all that she's using any drugs at all during this case?
Well, she did admit to using a Delta 8 pen at the beginning of the case.
She admitted at the beginning of the case she had used that prior to the case?
Yes, like she was using it during the investigation stage. She
Objection
was still
to
using it.
Objection non-responsive to everything after yes. Is Delta 8 used in your affidavit?
I'll overrule, but you can ask her another question if you want.
Is Delta 8 in your affidavit?
I can't recall.
Okay. So if I said it wasn't, you would have no reason to disagree with me?
No.
Pass the witness.
Ms. Sapien?
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, Mr. Kraft?
Nothing further. You're on the state rights.
Ms. Cano, do you have the affidavit in front of you?
No, Your Honor, I don't.
All right. Do you have any recollection about Mom saying why she was using Delta 8?
She wasn't aware that it would cause her to fail a drug screen or be in the baby system.
Did she tell you why she was using it? If you recall, if you don't.
No, I don't recall why she was using it.
Okay.
Your Honor, I would just note for the record, page 3 of the affidavit, there is discussion of this issue.
All right. Well, she didn't have it in front of her, apparently.
Yeah, I can't refresh a recollection with it, but I wanted to just bring it to the court's attention.
All right. Anybody have any further questions for Ms. Cano? Okay, then. Mr. Graff, you have any further witnesses?
I do not, Your Honor. State refs.
Okay, Ms. Mullinex.
Oh, Heather Wagner.
All right, Ms. Wagner, if you'll unmute for me and raise your right hand. Okay, just be sure you speak up so the court reporter can hear you.
May I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Heather, are you the mother of the children in this case, Samuel and Caden?
Yes.
And you call Samuel Sammy, is that right? Yes. And then Caden was just born. Was it on January 20th? Is that correct? Yes. All right. When this case started, is it correct that there was some kind of a domestic violence incident with you and Mr. Pendergraft? Yes. And what happened? What happened for, I guess, you and Mr. Pendergraft to no longer be associated with each other? We were in a relationship. I was on call with a few of my friends. He was texting me all day that day. I was refusing to talk to him. Some words were exchanged. He proceeded to assault me with Sammy in his arms. And the people that was on call called the cops. The cops showed up and he went to jail, and I haven't spoke to him since. And so is it your understanding that he has some kind of a bond condition maybe, or something that he can't have contact with the children at this time? I know the original bond agreement was that he would not have contact with me nor the kids. Okay, and so you've continued to not have contact with him at this time? Correct. Okay, and so have you, before the removal of your children, did you believe that you were keeping Samuel safe by not allowing the contact with their father or his father? Correct. And what happened? Who is Ms. Kiker? What's her first name first? Her first name is Jenny Lynn. I've known her for 5 years. She's one of my best friends, and I consider her to be my sister. And so did you meet her at Walmart? Yes, when I worked at US Cellular. Okay, so it wasn't like you just met some random person in Walmart and moved in with them? Correct. Okay, and so whenever Mr. Pendergraft was arrested, was that in Childress County or somewhere else? That was Montgomery County. And so what happened, or how did you get to Childress County? I had a friend come pick me up the next day, and I stayed at the motel with them for a little bit, and then I went to live with them in League City. And then they brought me up here when I no longer could stay with them. Okay, and so you aren't related to Ms. Kiker, you're just friends? Correct. And who are Cindy and her husband? They are... Paul's aunt was married to my dad at one point or another. So they were relatives of some sort at one point? Correct. Okay. I want to go ahead and ask about the home. You live in the home with Ms. Kiker. How many bedrooms is that home? Technically, there's 2. And so do you sleep in a bedroom, or are you out in the living room? I'm out in the living room because me and my church family are trying to set up mine and the kids' room. So the other bedroom, does that have anything in it right now? It is piled up pretty high with Kiker's mom's stuff because she was a hoarder and we've been trying to clear it out. So does Ms. Kiker own this home, or do you know? She rents. And so did her mom rent there also, or how does her mom live there? She was
hang on. I didn't get her full answer.
I think she rents.
Okay, let me get Ms. Wagner's answer.
She rents.
Who rents?
Jenny Lynn rents her home.
Rents her mother's home?
Her mother moved out about 1.5 years ago and refuses to help Kiker get all of her stuff out. So I had to have church family come in and help me get it to the storage unit that they rent.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Ms. Molnar.
Okay. And so this is a rental. Ms. Kiker's family does not own the home. Correct. Are you on the lease, or do you know? No, I am not. And how long have you been there at Ms. Kiker's home? Since October 1st, or beginning of October. I don't remember if it was the 1st or the 5th. And the judge was asking Ms. Kano if she had any knowledge of you contributing to the finances. Are you contributing to any finances at this time? I was when I was on food stamps, but I am still in the process of trying to get that figured out.
because I'm needing letters to send in for that.
And have you been employed since the birth of Samuel?
No.
Okay. And he's 10 months old. And so would it be correct that you got pregnant pretty quick right after he was born?
He was a month old, give or take. So no, it was 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
And so is it safe to say that you've been pregnant for a significant period of time in the last 2 years?
Correct.
When's the last place you worked, if any?
I worked at Woodhaven Village over in Conroe.
What is Woodhaven Village?
It is a retirement home.
And so are you a nurse or
I was a server.
A server?
Mm-hmm. They had a kitchen that we would pick up the little menus that they would write on and turn them into the kitchen, and then we would pass out the food.
And so were you pregnant at the time that CPS got involved in your case?
Yes.
And did you tell Ms. Cano that you were high risk?
Yes, I did.
Why were you high risk?
I had a complete placenta previa.
What is that? What does that mean?
My placenta had fused to my cervix.
And so at some point you had to be in the hospital. Is that correct?
Correct.
Were you able to help clean up the home that you're in when you moved in while you were pregnant?
I was able to for a little bit, and then I started having severe cramping where I could barely move other than to take care of the child.
And do you recall when you got out of the hospital after you went to the hospital?
Vaguely.
Do you know how long ago it's been?
I have been losing track, to be honest.
If Caden was born January 20th, do you know how long after he was born that you were released from the hospital?
About a week.
So would you agree if I said you've been out of the hospital about a month?
Yes.
Okay. And while you were in the hospital, did you have some medical procedures performed?
I did.
What did you have done?
I had 3 iron fusions or transfusions, excuse me. Not transfusions, infusions. Sorry, iron infusions. I had a C-section and hysterectomy. And I also got a liter of blood during surgery.
And have you healed from the C-section and hysterectomy at this point in time?
I'm starting to. I am still pink, which means I still can't lift much of anything heavy.
And do you have a doctor that you will be going to get released to go to work or anything like that?
I do.
Where's that doctor located?
Fox Clinic.
There in Childress?
Mm-hmm.
And with regard to Tina Souter, can you tell the court how many visits you had with Tina Souter and if those have started back up?
I had one, and I missed one of my appointments, and I don't know how to get a hold of her because it was so long ago and I didn't save the number.
And so if somebody could get you that number, are you willing and able to contact her to schedule another appointment?
Yes.
And I believe in the affidavit, it says something about you had bipolar disorder. Is that correct?
I do.
And when were you diagnosed with bipolar?
I was 13.
And were you on any kind of medication for your bipolar disorder at some point in time?
I've been on several medications.
When's the last time you were on medication?
I would say about 14 years ago, give or take.
And why did you stop taking that medication?
I was ordered by a psychologist to stop taking my meds.
And so if
objection hearsay.
And Your Honor, my response would be that she is saying why she did something. So it's her reliance on that as to why she stopped taking the medication. I believe that would be an acceptable hearsay.
I don't think that's how she answered it. I mean, it was clearly what someone said to her. I mean, you can ask her if she relied on advice without asking what that person said. So I'm going to sustain the objection.
Did you stop taking your medication after relying on someone else?
Yes.
Okay. Did you stop taking your medication because you personally did not want to be on the medication?
No.
Okay. And so have you been to Helen Therapy Centers there in Childress or wherever that's
Several
located?
times.
And when's the last time you went there?
Back in November.
What is the protocol for when you go there? Do you get an appointment or what?
I show up at 8 o'clock, 7:50 to 8 o'clock, and then I sit there and wait for hours on end until they can fit me in or they tell me to come back the next day.
And you said you had been several times. How many times would be several times?
I would say 2 to 3 times.
And why have you not been since November?
I've been trying to get a ride, but my rides have been pretty busy as of late.
Did you hear Ms. Kano testify that she told you that she could give you a ride?
I've asked her on several, yes, and I've asked her on several occasions and she doesn't respond.
Are you willing and able, if you have a ride, to go to Helen Therapy Centers and do whatever's needed for you to be seen by them?
Yes, I'm going tomorrow morning.
If it's recommended for you to take medication for your bipolar disorder or depression, are you willing and able to do that?
Yes.
Has your depression gotten better or worse since you gave birth to Caden?
It got worse in the beginning, but it's slowly getting better.
And did you hear Ms. Kano testify that you hadn't been out of bed in 4 days just before the removal?
Yes.
What was the reason that you were in bed for 4 days? I mean, were you depressed? That's what her affidavit says.
Objection, leading question.
Sustained.
Okay. Do you know the reason that you were in bed for 4 days?
My depression had kicked in, I'm guessing because of the fact that my kids weren't home and I wasn't able to go see Caden because it's 2 hours away and I couldn't find a ride.
Was that when he was still in the hospital?
Yes.
And you were offered services through Family Base, is that correct?
I was offered transportation and
Well,
help with diapers and cleaning supplies.
Okay, and by services, I mean, was it a service for you to go to Helen Therapy Centers to complete that? And was it a service for you to see Tina?
I didn't know about that until she called me.
But you found out it was a service, right?
Yes.
Before you were put in the hospital, did you make attempts to complete the services?
Yes.
Are you still willing and able to complete services and work on the services if the judge were to order them?
Yes.
You provided that Mother's Exhibit A, those pictures. Were those from yesterday?
Yes.
There's still some boxes and things around. What's the plan for getting all those things cleaned up and taken care of?
We are working on one room at a time. That way we can clear everything out that goes to storage and all the trash because it's a mess. And then going to put things where they go, what room they go in. We're getting it situated and then placed everywhere where things need to go.
As you sit here, you took the pictures yesterday. Do you see a safety hazard for either of your children in those pictures?
I can see where CPS would have a concern, but I don't leave my children out of my sight, so I don't see the relevance if I'm right on top of them 24/7.
And does Ms. Kiker help you out with at least Samuel when he was there?
Yes.
Do you have any concerns with any kind of mental health issues with her?
No.
If the court were to order you to be supervised with your children due to mental health concerns, do you have somebody that could help supervise?
Yes.
Who?
I have my pastor and his wife, which is Jennifer Rodriguez and Martin Rodriguez. I also have April, which is a church member of mine, as well as someone I call Shorty, who is also from church.
And are those people that you'd be able to get their information to get to the department so that they could have background checks and things like that done?
Yes. Jennifer Rodriguez has already been background checked, to be honest.
Are you requesting the court to return your children and order services to be worked?
Can you rephrase the question, please? I didn't quite understand.
You and I talked about how the court could order you to work services. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you believe that the children should be placed out of the home while you work those services?
No.
Are you asking that the kids be returned to you so that you can take care of them and be ordered to work the services in order to alleviate any issues that the department has?
Yes.
Are you willing to be supervised by another person, a competent adult that passes a background check if that's what the court were to order?
Yes.
I'd pass the witness.
What would that look like, Ms. Wagner? I mean, what person, somebody else going to move in the home with you? I mean, who's going to do it?
What would happen is between 7:30 and 5:30, I would have one of my church members come into the home to supervise me with the child while Kiker is at work.
And then Ms. Kiker would be there during the evening hours.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Ms. Groff.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Ms. Wagner, you would agree that if Ms. Cano documented her first meeting with you was on November 1st, that would be accurate, correct?
That sounds about right.
Okay. And at that first visit, isn't it true that you told Ms. Cano that you were using Delta 8 and something called colors to address depression?
I told her that I was smoking a Delta 8 pen and that I liked coloring.
Okay. Oh, colors. I misread the affidavit. Okay. But you did admit to using Delta 8.
Yeah.
And you were doing that to address depression.
Correct.
Okay. And that was being done just kind of over the counter self-medicating. You weren't seeing a doctor hadn't
Correct.
authorized, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And it sounds like you would also agree that the clutter in the home has been kind of an ongoing issue. You mentioned that Ms. Kiker's mother is a hoarder and has had piles of stuff there. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And you'd also agree that while you're working on it, it's still a problem.
It's a lot of stuff. So
Okay.
yes.
Okay. And okay. And that's something that Ms. Cano has consistently emphasized, hasn't she? The need to maintain a clean and as decluttered an environment as possible.
Yes.
Okay.
And she's mentioned that it looks good one week and then when she comes back it looks worse. And I can contest that yes, that has happened, but that's because we're moving stuff from one room into another so we can puzzle.
I understand it's a process. Okay. All right. And she, in fact, asked you at one point or talked to you about the possibility of maybe moving into a shelter, didn't she?
She did.
She did, and you didn't want to do that though at that time, did you?
No.
And that would have been back in November, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and it's fair to say. Go ahead.
I have PTSD from a shelter because I've been to a shelter before.
Okay, so it's fair to say you were pretty adamant you want to stay where you are.
Yes.
Okay, and did I understand you to say that you, Samuel, and Caden would be living in the living room?
No. We are working on getting the bedroom that we're going to be staying at organized, and that should be done by this weekend.
Okay, but you have been staying in the living room?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm going to run some numbers by you, and if you're not sure, that's fine. I just want to confirm. If Ms. Cano had documented meeting with you on 11/1, 11/4, she took you to Faraday on 11/5, 11/6, 11/22, 12/12, then you're in the hospital, then February 5th and February 11th. Does that sound about right?
She did come by the house at those times.
Okay, thank you. And then, and she also, in addition to driving you to the Faraday Center on the 5th of November, she did offer to take you at other times. That's why you called her, right?
Correct.
Okay. And, but you had said basically you have rides lined up, but you only called when the rides fell through. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
And when you would call her, was it like your ride didn't show up and so you would call, or did you call her in advance to notify her? I mean, what was the typical circumstance?
I would text her after the ride would fall through for the next day, and I wouldn't get a call back, and every time I did call her cell, it went straight to voicemail.
Okay. All right. And then you also testified that you lost the contact information for a counselor you were seeing?
Yes.
Okay. And did you have an active phone or internet at that time?
Internet, yes. My phone gets turned off quite a bit, to be honest.
Okay. Did you attempt to Google the therapist contact information when you lost it?
I honestly it didn't occur to me to do so.
Okay. All right. And so you would agree you only talked with that therapist maybe twice?
At best, yes.
Okay. But it sounds like you are willing to access mental health services going forward.
Yes, I am.
And last question. It is true that Ms. Cano and Ms. Little did actually physically assist you with cleaning the home on at least one occasion. Is that right?
On one occasion, they did, yes.
Okay, and they did help you acquire cleaning materials.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Pass the witness.
Ms. Wagner,
Yes, Your Honor.
I mean, other than your personal belongings or the children's belongings, all this stuff that we've been talking about and that we see in the pictures,
Yes.
I mean, is the majority of that stuff belong to Miss Kiker or to her mother?
Correct.
So what ability do you have to really do anything about it? I mean,
I
not your
don't.
stuff. You can't just start throwing things out, I assume.
Correct.
So how is this ever going to improve or change?
Like I said, me and my church family get together on the weekends when Lady Kiker is here. And she kind of supervises what gets thrown, what goes to storage, and then we just kind of go from there.
So are we actually getting rid of things, or are things just getting moved room to room?
There's a trailer out in the front. I can show you if you'd like.
No, I'm just asking you. I mean, I'm just trying
Yes.
to figure out how
Things are getting thrown.
okay. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how we get over this hurdle. And and is there a way to do it? Because it's not your stuff. I mean,
Right.
so
The kitchen has been reorganized and straightened up. And the bedroom is about halfway done. And that was 2 days ago that they came out. Last weekend, I think it was, that they came out and did all that. I believe. I don't remember.
who came out to do what?
My church family came out and helped.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Have you been released from your physician to go back to work?
No.
How much longer do you anticipate that will be?
I will have to actually go up there and find that out.
Do you have an appointment with your primary care physician?
She won't see me until I get back on my Medicaid.
She won't see you until what?
I get until my Medicaid gets reinstated.
What do you need to do to do that?
Proof of address and Caden's social security card being sent out to him.
Okay. I mean, is that something you could take care of tomorrow?
It is. It's just I gotta find where I put his social security card because it was on the table that we got rid of and it got into the safe pile.
You're sure it's there?
Yes.
Okay. You told me earlier that when I asked about were you contributing, paying rent or anything, and you testified that when you were on food stamps you were.
Yes.
So you were getting food stamps and what? That was providing food for everyone in the home?
Correct.
Okay.
Jenny Lynn only has about one meal at night at home, so I would just throw something together for dinner.
Yeah, I understand. Just understand, you need to be very careful about that.
Yes.
Because that's food stamps for you and the children, and not for somebody else.
Correct.
So just a word to the wise. That's you need to be real.
And I was working on getting her onto the case to avoid that.
Okay, Ms. Stevens, do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you. Ma'am, your children were not physically abused in your home, correct?
Correct.
Your children were not sexually abused in your home, right?
Correct.
You didn't neglect your kids, did you?
No.
Your kids had food,
Yes.
shelter,
Yes.
medical care.
Yes.
Other than Delta 8, when you found out that was illegal, did you stop using Delta
I
8?
threw away immediately.
Okay. My mother also colors, so I understand that. Would you say that anyone emotionally abused your children in your home?
No.
Did anyone criticize or threaten them?
No.
Did anyone reject them?
No.
Do you ever lock them in a closet for discipline?
No.
Have you ever abandoned them without the intent of returning to them?
No.
Pass the witness.
Okay, Ms. Sapien?
Thank you, Judge. Miss Wagner, when did you lose your food stamps?
That would have been back in December, I think it was. Late. It might have been November. Might have been November.
Okay, and what?
Go
Go
ahead. I have been working on getting it back ever since. It's just people are busy and getting letters from them is kind of hard.
Okay, what does that mean? Who's busy?
Um, I needed a third person that does not live in the home or related to me to sign a paper stating that I live here. And most of the people I know are either self-employed or work at the prison with Lady Kiker. So it's just been kind of hard to get that information from them.
Okay, and what was the reason you lost food stamps?
Um, I think it was just a renewal issue, to be honest.
If you do not have food stamps, how were you providing food for Samuel?
Lady Kiker was buying it for us.
Are you saying Lady Kiker?
Yes, I call her Lady Kiker out of respect because she calls everybody lady and then their last name or first name.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was getting it right.
Yes.
And so Miss Kiker, Lady Kiker was helping with formula.
No, I had Wick for that. Sorry.
Okay. You still have WIC?
I do.
And when was the last time that you had a job? I know you said it earlier, I just didn't get it down.
That's okay. It was August of last year, and I worked at Woodhaven Village.
Do you know when you get released to work if you will have a job?
I can find one pretty quickly here.
But you don't have one lined up.
No.
In the pictures you provided, I didn't see where Samuel would sleep. Where does Samuel sleep when he lives with you?
In the room off of the living room.
Is that
And
what
the
looks?
reason I didn't show that one is because it is currently in shambles due to the fact that we're still moving things around and I couldn't get into it at that moment.
Okay, so if your children were returned to you, where would Samuel sleep? And Kate?
I would actually clear out a place for us and them in that room. There's enough room in it to do that now.
Okay, so as it stands right now, at 1:12 p.m., is there a place for you and Caden and Samuel to sleep?
Yes.
Okay, and is there still a playpen for Samuel?
Yes. And I
And
also have a bassinet for Caden.
okay. And so you're saying the room is in shambles, but there's space for y'all?
Yes. Right now all of their stuff is piled up along the bed, but I'm going to be disassembling to put the cot that I sleep on in there until I can get a bed.
I want to talk a little bit about your mental health and you've discussed your depression. This 4-day period that you were in bed, is that the first time that you have been stuck in bed due to your depression?
Uh, no, but it has been the first time in years that I've had that done.
Okay, that was going to be my next question is when is the last time it debilitated you?
The last time would probably be about almost 12 years ago. well, 11 years, almost 11 and a half.
Okay, so prior to any, prior to Samuel or Caden. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Did you hear Miss Cano's testimony regarding Samuel's diaper when she would visit?
Yes.
Do you agree that his diaper was so full it was falling off his body?
It was full, but it was not falling off of his body.
Okay. How often do you change his diaper when he's in your care?
I tried to wait at least 2 to 3 urinations because I didn't have the money to replace the diapers at that time, so I was trying to stretch them out.
Is that still the case that you don't have money for diapers?
No.
And why not? What has changed?
My boyfriend will be moving in here shortly, and he said that he would help with the diapers and clothes and everything for Sammy and Caden.
Okay, who's your boyfriend?
William Stanley.
So without Mr. Stanley, diaper situation would remain the same, correct?
I can get help via my church family too if needed be. But as for me personally, I would not be able to afford them now.
Mr. Stanley, how long have you been in a relationship with him?
Since September.
And do you know if he has any CPS history?
No, he does not.
Any criminal history that you know of?
No.
Do you have any criminal history?
No.
Does Mr. Stanley have a job?
He's on disability. So no, he does not.
Temporary or permanent?
Permanent.
Go ahead, Ms. Sapien.
Thank you, Judge. So, did you testified earlier that you are going to attempt to get mental health services started tomorrow? Is that correct?
Yes.
And you're also tomorrow going to try to get your Medicaid reinstated?
Correct.
Okay. And also work on food stamps tomorrow?
Yes.
Why haven't you done any of those things before today?
I've been trying to get people to give me that letter of me living here since November.
Okay. Is that something that Miss Cano could have signed as she doesn't live in the home?
Yeah, but I didn't think of that, to be honest.
Yes. I'll pass the witness.
Okay, Ms. Mullinex?
Heather, you said that you are currently on WIC,
Yes,
so you don't have food stamps, but you have WIC.
correct.
And does WIC cover diapers and things like that, or just formula?
Just formula, fruits, vegetables, baby food, the puree baby food, age appropriate,
Do you
and milk, cheese. Sorry.
did you say milk and cheese?
Yes,
Okay. And do you have a washer and dryer there at the house?
I have a washer and I hang my clothes up to dry.
So is it possible for you to look into some reusable diapers?
Yes.
Have you done that so far?
I have not. I mean, I do have some, but I need the pins for them, and I keep forgetting to pick them up every time I'm at Walmart.
So could you get those in the next day or two?
Yes.
I'd pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Groff.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, and Ms. Stevens
Nothing, Your Honor.
and Ms. Sapien, any witnesses or anything to present today?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then, Ms. Stevens, or not Ms. Stevens, I'm so sorry, Ms. Sapien, do you have a recommendation to make?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, you may go right ahead.
Thank you. Judge, out of complete candor to the court, at the beginning of this hearing, I was not in agreement with this removal, but after testimony from mom, I do have concerns about her current ability to care properly for both of the children. I understand that she has plans to be able to properly care for them, and I do trust that she is going to fulfill those plans and do what she needs to do to get her children back into her care. But as it stands today, I do not believe that the children can be properly cared for in mom's care, and therefore I am recommending that the department be named the temporary managing conservator of the children and that mom work services.
All right, thank you, Ms. Sapien. Okay, counsel, I know at least Ms. Stevens wished to present a closing. I'll allow everybody that opportunity. Mr. Groff, do you wish to go last?
Sure, Your Honor, and I probably will just have a brief statement.
All right, then, Ms. Mullinex, any argument?
Your Honor, just briefly, the department said that they made reasonable efforts to keep the children from being removed. However, this could have been handled in order to participate, and there was no motion or even attempt to have an order to participate. She clearly was attempting to work her services, and she was having some physical health issues because of her pregnancy, and she's acknowledged her mental health issues, but all of these things could be alleviated in order to participate because she's clearly willing to do the services. With regard to the children, one of them isn't even able to crawl or anything at this point because he's a month old, and one of them has a walker that he can walk around in, and she's indicated that she cares for the children at all times and that she has the ability to keep them safe. And also, she has testified that the church family comes on the weekends and helps clean up the house. There is some clutter in the home, but it's not anything that significantly impairs the children's physical health or emotional development. And that can be alleviated probably within the next few days, as she testified that they can take care of some of that stuff this weekend. And so I believe the appropriate thing would be to return the children to her and do an order to participate so that she can get the services done. And then she would have consequences if she didn't do them, because it would be in order for her to participate in those services, Your Honor. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Mullinex. All right, Ms. Stevens.
Your Honor, I agree with Ms. Mullinex. I don't believe that the burden was met for this case. If you look at the pictures of the mother's home, that's cluttered, yes. And granted, most of us don't live with that kind of clutter, but you can see from the floors and the surfaces, it's not dirty. It doesn't even look that dusty. The kitchen counters are fairly clean. It is not illegal in America to be poor, and that's not a cause for removal. It's not illegal to live differently than those of us who are privileged live. That is not a cause for removal. It's not illegal to have clutter that doesn't affect anything with children who aren't even walking yet. That's not a cause for removal. I'll cite from the 7th District of Texas, it's number 0724000245CV in the interest of DDJC and NMCJ from February 4th, 2025. The termination was overturned, and the court wrote that while they didn't minimize the department's allegations or condone the circumstances that led to removal, the department bears the burden to prove that the children's surroundings endanger their physical and emotional well-being or create potential danger, which the mother is aware of but consciously disregards. On the record before us, we conclude the evidence is both legally and factually insufficient to meet that burden, and they ended up overturning. I think we have the exact same situation here. We have someone who lives different than all of the lawyers and Ms. Cano. And so we're judging that and using that as a removal when there's no evidence that the children were physically abused, sexually abused, neglected, other than her quitting using Delta 8 when she found out it was illegal. There was no substance abuse. There's no emotional abuse on the record in this case. There's no abandonment. There was domestic violence between the parents. And my client was arrested. He's been removed from the home. He won't be going back. Obviously, he needs some anger management. We're not arguing about whether or not dad should work some services. We're not arguing that the mom definitely needs to take up custody in a family court. What we are arguing is that once again, it seems that CPS in this region has a tendency to remove when people are poor and not privileged, not entitled, and live differently from us. And that is not a legal or factually sufficient basis for a removal at all. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Sapien. Any other further argument to make?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Groff.
Thank you, Your Honor. As the court is aware, this is not a termination case. We're not at a termination trial. We're at a temporary hearing at the beginning of a case. The children were not removed because this parent is poor. In fact, the department does not see that this is a termination case. The department sees a mom who, following through with services, addressing in mental health and making sure the home is consistently free of safety hazards, can certainly reunify with her children. But the reason they were removed because of imminent safety threats. And I think it's laudable, and I'm glad to hear Mom testify that efforts continue to be made to declutter an admittedly cluttered home. The situation with regard to that has not been fully resolved. She has a bedroom that's not even available today. But more importantly are the concerns identified regarding the mental health and the untreated mental health. And really the excuse is, I lost the number, I couldn't find the number. There was just one too many explanations that fall into that category that call for the need to do services. Now, it's good that Mom agrees and that she can benefit from services. We think she should do services. But we think she should demonstrate some compliance with services and make some progress with services to show that the safety risks are consistently ameliorated before the court entrusts two very young children back into the mother's care. This is a very tight environment. There's a lot of what ifs. What if the boyfriend can provide diapers? There's just too many questions today, Your Honor. Again, we think that this case has reunification written all over it. We just don't think we're there today, and we would ask the court to make a finding that TMC is in the children's best interest at this time. So that's our request, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Groff. All right. I concur with Mr. Groff. We aren't at the point of termination. So I think that the case law that Ms. Stevens you've called upon is probably not applicable here. It's a different legal standard even. For this hearing, it's a sufficiency of the evidence standard as opposed to clear and convincing. So while I don't disagree with the case law that you quoted, I just don't think it's applicable to this situation. The real crux of this is number one, the child can't be returned to Mr. Pendergraph. He may be a non-offending parent in the situation that we are here, but he also has a no contact order with the children, and so they can't obviously be placed with him. With respect to the mother, I would find that there would be a continuing danger to the health and safety of particularly very young children to return them to the home today. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't work on things and get there. But I do find the evidence is sufficient to name the department as temporary managing conservator, and that I will expect parents to work some services. We can talk more about that, obviously, at our status hearing, but I'll give everybody a little peek at kind of what we're going to be expecting here. Ms. Wagner, here's my big overriding concern, and I think I understand where Miss Sapien was coming from, is what I'm hearing is, oh yeah, I need to do that, or I have to do that, or I got to do that, but there's not any follow through. You're not doing it. You're not getting it done. I also have a very big concern. You have put all your eggs in one basket in Miss Kiker. And that's a basket you have very little control over. You know, and I'm not hearing a whole lot of what I'm going to do to help myself get out of this situation. We're moving in a boyfriend maybe who's on disability that's going to help you financially and help provide for the children. The objective here is to try to assist you in getting on your own 2 feet, where you are, you know, where you are stable enough to provide for your children with or without the boyfriend's help, with or without Ms. Kiker's help. You know, you're the parent here. And, you know, and I don't know what Mr. Pendergraft's situation is, but he's an alleged father. So, you know, we need to address that and get him adjudicated if he is the dad, and start making him pay some child support. You know, there's other avenues here that, you know, can assist you, albeit those take some time. So, you know, I certainly, Ms. Stevens, have you discussed with your client whether or not he wants genetic testing for either of these children?
I can ask him. I do not believe so. He's never said to me that he doesn't believe they're his children, and he is willing to work services. He and I talked about that, and he knows he's got to work some services.
I'm going to allow you, you know, the opportunity to have that very specific discussion with him, and we will talk about that again at the status hearing. And so, you know, that we can begin to go down that road, which I think we desperately need to do. So the bottom line is, Wagner, what I'm trying to say to you is, you know, this may seem like it's your only option right now, but maybe it isn't. I don't know. Maybe you referred to the assistance you get through your church and some of those folks. Maybe there's an avenue for you to look at alternative housing, because you just don't have the control that I think you really need in your current situation. Now, if you want to get in there, dig deep, and in the next few weeks, you can make a real difference in the condition of the home and the living and the conditions and surroundings and environment for these children. Yeah, I'm happy for us to continue to look at that. These cases are always fluid. You know, we always want to get kids back home. You know, I'm not removing your kids today because of poverty. I'm not removing them today, you know, for other reasons suggested. You know, I certainly take exception to the suggestion that somehow that others of us in this proceeding may be entitled or somehow in a different position. I don't know what everybody's position is, but the point is, that is not why I'm removing the children. I'm removing them for their basic safety, health, and well-being. I am concerned that you start getting your mental health addressed. You know, classic depression is the inability to get from point A to point B. And I'm seeing a lot of that right now. You just can't get these tasks completed. They sound simple. You know what you need to do, but you just can't seem to get it accomplished. So we want to help you with that, get that going, get that in place. You know, I think you certainly should be talking to your physician about postpartum depression, you know, based on some concerns and issues that have come up since you had the last child. It's a very serious condition. It can be a very, very serious condition. And I think it's worthy of a discussion. So I just want you to address these issues, and we will continue to look at how do we get the kids back with you. Okay, I promise you that. You know, my hope is that this could be a very short-lived situation, but we got some big changes to make. So a lot of that ball's in your court. You know, but I want the department to use every effort to give you the tools to get that done. And, you know, let's certainly start with the mental health thing. There's only so much these folks can do to come help you clean up the house and get rid of things. I mean, the truth is, it's kind of not in their job description to come mop the floors and clean the bathrooms, you know, and to, you know, wash dishes and to fold laundry. And, you know, although I know a lot of them are big-hearted and they do it. So, but see what you can do and see what you can work out with Miss Kuiper, you know, to start changing the situation. And we'll take a look at it every hearing we have. So the next one will be our status hearing, which is March 26th of 2025. That'll be on the 9 o'clock docket. And, you know, at any time, your attorney well knows that, you know, if you need a hearing, they just contact us, file a motion, let us know, we'll get something set. So, but you know, that hearing, your status hearing will be here pretty quickly. So, I wish you the best of luck in the next few weeks. What kind of visitation have we set up for her?
Brianna, can you address that?
Yes, she is having visitations once a week
For how long?
for an hour.
Okay, these are both really young children. I want us to increase that to 2. And then, you know, obviously the focus as far as services are concerned should be the mental health and just, you know, maintaining stability. And I apologize. I completely failed to call on CASA. And I know it's kind of after the fact, but I am going to call on Ms. Monzingo to give me her recommendation and opinion. And Ms. Monzingo, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. Tammy Lively is on the call on the Zoom, and she's actually the volunteer on this case.
Okay, Ms. Lively, my apologies to you as well. I'm very sorry. Just know in the future, if I ever do this again, start waving wildly at me or just interrupt. I'm so sorry. I hate it when I pass over you guys, and it's not my intention. So
fine. My recommendation is for them to stay where they're at for right now until we can go visit with the mother and visit with her and just check out the surroundings. So that would be my recommendation.
okay, thank you, Ms. Lively.
And Judge, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You had asked about the visitation and it was an hour a week. I don't know if that's virtual or in person, but the kids are in Midland, I think. So we would ask that there be some kind of transportation for her at least every couple of weeks to see the kids if she's not physically seeing them.
Okay, I don't know if we've got anybody from St. Francis here that can really address that. Ms. Kirksey's here. All right.
Yes, Your Honor. Unfortunately, we can't commit to giving transportation. That's part of their family plan of service for them to have some form of reliable transportation. If it happens that mom can be able to figure something out, or the caseworker can continue to check in and maybe set something up. But to say every 2 weeks that we're going to for sure be able to have transporters available to take mom to go see the children, we wouldn't be able to commit to that.
Ms. Molinax is your client been able to give any additional names of possible placements here in Amarillo?
I don't know that she knows anybody in Amarillo.
Or closer?
I know that she wasn't comfortable with Cindy that had previously had placement. I don't know if that's changed today or not.
You can certainly have that discussion with her, and then of course y'all notify Ms. Kirksey or who her worker will be with St. Francis, but obviously that simplifies things greatly. I missed that they were placed in Midland. Until we can explore some of those things and they are in Midland, then the 2 hours is probably not realistic, but if we could maybe split up her time, maybe 45 minutes twice a week, something like that. Because of the children's ages, even an hour is probably almost, counterproductive. But if we could give her a little bit more time than an hour and kind of split that up during the week, Ms. Kirksey, I think that would be more beneficial.
And Judge, I've had several cases where the department was ordered to transport, so I'm not sure why it's not possible in this case. But these children are very young, and she hasn't had the youngest at home at all. And so I have concerns about her being able to bond with this child if she's not being able to have physical contact with the child because the department placed in Midland.
And I join Axe's concerns regarding that bond.
We join that as well.
And obviously it's a big concern to me as well. It's just a question of everybody knows we just don't have enough. We don't have enough placements in this area. St. Francis, I will say, I will order you all to continue to look for placement, but Ms. Mullinax, I think too, your client needs to think hard about what are possibilities. That one that you've mentioned would certainly be a big possibility and could probably happen pretty quickly.
I know what her concerns were, and I think they were addressed in the affidavit for the removal about maybe spanking the child and co-sleeping. And I feel like if we could address, and I don't mean to say something wrong, Heather, but I feel like if we could address those and maybe have something ordered to where the placement couldn't do the certain things that she's concerned about, that maybe we could figure that out. But I can talk to her about that.
Okay. And I'm more than willing to look at that. And we can, if we've approved placement, obviously previously. So I think the children could be placed, and then the department may want, a home study on the home, but to see, depending on what they want to do as far as licensing or anything else. But it's obviously one solution to a very big problem.
Your Honor, just a quick question, because like Ms. Mullinax, in all my other cases in every other county, CPS has always been helpful with transportation when they place away from home. So if they can't drive the mother themselves, because even though my client can't see the kids right now because of the no contact, he still wants mom with the kids as much as possible. What other help and assistance can the state give since they've placed so far away?
Great question. Let's all call our senators and our House of Representatives,
No, I meant CPS, Your Honor.
The problem is, St. Francis only has so many resources and so many people to provide that service. And if they don't have the resources or enough people to do that, and they are the provider in our region, according to state law, I can't order them something that is feasible for them to do. And this is the first time I've come across this problem, but Ms. Kirksey, obviously if we could get her down there every once in a while, even once a month would be great, and I don't know whether that's feasible to do. If we could commit to that, that would help.
I don't think I was understood properly. It's not that I'm trying to get you to force them to drive. That's not what I was. What other services? I meant I've actually seen one time before in a different county that CPS did have, or maybe it was CASA, I can't remember, but somebody was able to help with bus fare. So that they weren't the ones transporting, but they were the ones still helping find those kind of alternatives. And I don't know, it was so long ago, Your Honor, I truly don't remember anything other than they helped with the bus fare.
Well, the department used to routinely help with, bus tickets and things like that, and some public transportation, and it's now, that burden is now St. Francis's burden. And so again, I don't know whether Ms. Kersey could answer that, if they could, once a month provide her transportation by bus, to go to that, because somebody's got to pick her up from the bus station and get her to wherever the kids are going to be. And so it's, there's a lot of coordination to that, but I'm fine with everybody discussing that and seeing what's available.
So then can we just include in the order that that the state through their provider needs to make any helpful things that they can?
I think they're under a mandate by state law to do that, to help reunify the family. So I don't think it needs to be a separate court order, Ms. Stevens, but I'm trying to ask Ms. Kirksey, could we commit to transporting her once a month?
We could definitely try. I wish that I could tell you a specific answer. Essentially, what we were told was that, we have the visit or the transportation request, and that comes from helping transport kids for medical placements, court hearings, juvenile hearings, everything like that. At the very bottom of the list, it would be helping transport parents. If we are available, we will absolutely do that. And I know that nobody has an issue putting in their request and seeing if it'll get approved. It's one of those things that changes and wanes their availability every single month, just depending on what we have going on. So I can't give you a for sure definite answer that every single month it would be feasible. The other issue that we run into a lot of times with these visits where it's out of region placement is that we need them to be supervised. And so it'll also have to be something that maybe the permanency specialist would have to get approved to drive down there. Maybe an LPS worker can help supervise. So I can't give you a definite answer, unfortunately, on it. And I wish I could.
And this is the problem we run into over and over, but and or the same with bus fare. If those funds are available, we can look at that as well. Correct?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I apologize to interrupt. And CASA does offer bus fare from time to time. We get email notifications whenever they do have ones to give out, and they'll let us know so that we can contact them. On occasion, we get bus fare to hand out. It's not a regular thing. It doesn't happen on the first of every month. It's just kind of whenever those funds are extra and available, then we're notified and we're able to help out. But we'd be more than willing to offer any services available whenever the time comes. I mean, if it would help any, we could be court ordered to put in a transportation request and see if transportation is available every single month. And if it is, we can get the visit set up. I just can't give you a definite answer of whether somebody would be available at that time.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem ordering that you all will put in that request. So circling back, then obviously if mom can provide, what will be an approved placement here locally, it makes a huge difference, huge difference. So.
And Judge, I would request that the visitation, if you're going to order the 2 hours a week or whatever you're ordering, be in person if she can get transportation. And then if not, that she be able to have that visitation via Zoom or some other avenue.
If she can get transportation to go down there, I have no problem with her having the 2 hours time block with the kids. I was just saying, if it's going to be virtual, I think it makes more sense to split it up a couple times a week.
Right. I just mean, I would request that the order state that she has the ability, if she has the ability to make it in person, that it be in person. Otherwise, that it be virtually.
Yes. And understand that we have to secure somebody to supervise that. So a lot of moving parts. I get it. I understand. It's very frustrating, but you, Ms. Mullinax, I just think you, Ms. Wagner, talk seriously about what the alternative looks like, and then, you know, certainly you can get with St. Francis and discuss that with them too.
Do we
Yeah.
know who the St. Francis worker will be so that I can contact them, or do you want me to contact you, Eugene?
Ms.
I don't know with, I think it's Ms. Kopak, if I'm pronouncing that right, but if Ms. Kirsty.
Cassie Coppett?
I believe. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. But you can always reach out through me, Ms. Mullinax, if you need to, if you're trying to reach somebody and you're having difficulty, anything like that, by all means.
Okay. I'll talk to her and then I'll get with you guys as soon as possible so that maybe we can circumvent the issue of the transportation.
Great.
Okay, the only other thing I didn't comment on earlier, and I did want to, you know, obviously Mr. Pendergraft is not permitted to have contact with the children at this time. Should that change, you know, I think we can address, you know, contact at that point, but otherwise, I think we should be looking at long-term co-parenting, what that may look like, you know, with him, if he's the father of the children, whether he acknowledges that to us or wants genetic testing. So we'll take all that up again at the status hearing. And like I said, that'll be March 26th, 2025 on a 9 o'clock docket.
Great. Thank you.
All right. I appreciate everybody. Ms. Wagner, I wish you the best of luck, and you got lots to do. So hopefully you can prioritize and get it done. All right. Thank you all very much. Ms. Taylor, appreciate it. Y'all have a good
rest
rest
of
of
your day, Judge. I think this is all I have.
Here today, set for our status hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We're live streaming. And Ms. Taylor's making our record for us this morning. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Todd Alvey on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. I'm present, ready to proceed. Cassie Copic, St. Francis Ministries Permanency Specialist, will be the one who gives us a review.
Erin Mullinax, attorney for the mother. She was provided with the status report and with the link, so I'm not sure. I don't see her here, but I'm ready.
Bethany Stevens for the father. He was also provided the links. I don't see him, but I'm ready.
Bailey Sapien on behalf of the children, and I'm ready.
Okay. And Casa is also present with us this morning. Okay, then I do not have Ms. Wagner or Mr. Pendergraft in the waiting room, so I'll obviously keep an eye out for them should they log in. All right then, Ms. Kopic, if you want to give us an update from what's happened since your court report was filed.
Parents have been provided their family plan and they've signed them. Both parents are agreeable to work services. The kids continue to be placed in the same placement. They're doing well. Mom did have a visit with the kids in Lubbock on Monday, and that visit went well. Heather did get a job at McDonald's, and then John also is employed. He works like the night shift from 6 to 6 is what he told me. So there is a courtesy worker assigned to John in his area in Conroe.
Okay, so we're staying in good communication, getting some things set up.
Yes, and the house has. I've been to Heather's house twice. They have been working on getting it cleaned up. They've got rid of some more stuff since the first time to the next time. There's been stuff removed from the house. Her boyfriend did move here from Indiana, I guess a couple weeks ago.
So he's living with her?
Yes.
Right, if we run any kind of background checks on him?
I did an accurate report, and it didn't show that he had anything from that report. So criminal wise, and he doesn't have any children either.
Okay. Is he willing to participate at any level since he's living in the home?
Yes, I did tell him, I've referred them to the fatherhood fire parenting class because they can do it together. So he's going to do that. I haven't talked to him about working in any other services, but I think it might be good for him to also do a psychosocial just to see if he might need any other services.
What is his name?
William Stanley.
Okay. All right. Anything else to report?
No.
Okay, Ms. Molinax?
Cassie, I have some questions for you. With regard to Heather, the big issue was her mental health at the beginning of the case. You're aware of that, right?
Yes.
And is it correct that you've provided me with information that she did go to, I don't know if it was a course or if she went to the Helen Farabee Center. She went somewhere. Is that right?
Yes, she did. She has started there at the Helen Farabee, however you say it.
And is that like TPC? Like, does she go there to get her medications and stuff, or what is there at that center?
That's what it's like, TPC, but I guess it covers that area, like Wichita Falls, Childress.
And she went there pretty quick after that first hearing, right? When you let me know?
She did, yes.
And so she's been complying with her service plan, including getting the job and going to the Helen Farabee Center.
Yes.
Okay, I pass the witness.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. All right, Ms. Stevens.
Just very quickly, is my client working his current services?
Yes, he is willing to work all services. One of the things with the probation is he has to do the BIP in person. So he's going to have to do that through Montgomery County since that's where he lives.
Is he willing to do that?
Yes. He doesn't have a vehicle, so I know that it's going to be a little bit hard for him because he's going to have to walk to get stuff done.
Have you already gotten the paperwork down there so he can get started?
I sent him his service plan, and I told him where he needed to go, but I don't know that we can pay for BIP down there, but I can call and see if that's something we can pay for.
Okay, and then you'll get the referral sent down there?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
All right, let me just ask Ms. Collins, as long as it's in Texas, we should be able to arrange for payment, correct?
Yeah, we will just have to add that provider to our list.
Okay. All right. All right, then Ms. Sapien.
Thank you, Judge. I don't have any questions for Ms. Kopic, just a recommendation.
Okay, let me just ask anything else, Ms. Mullinax or Ms. Stevens, on behalf of your clients, anything else to talk about?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, then. Okay, Ms. Sapien, I'm ready for your recommendation.
Thank you, Judge. My recommendation is just that parents continue to work services. I'm happy to know that things are rolling and that placement continue. The boys are doing well.
And CASA.
Yes, Judge. CASA met with the boys in their foster home and virtually. The boys are doing really good. They have a great support system from family. Mom has Heather has gotten a job, and she's doing good. So I think they should, everything's going good so far.
Okay. All right, and Caden is not having any further problems since release from the NICU. I mean, is everything going?
Everything's going well. He might have a hernia, but the foster mom's taking him to the doctor and everything like that. So there's not any concerns. They did have ECI evaluations. They didn't recommend services, so they're on target. right now.
Okay. All right, very good. Okay, then, for today, I would find that there's a continuing danger to return the children home. However, it sounds like parents are cooperating and in contact and are beginning their services. So, sounds like we're starting out in compliance, and I'm going to order the service plans as an order of the court today. Counsel, if you will, just since they're not here, would you please just stress to them that, failure to work those services could result in the children not going home with either one of them, or can result in termination of their parental rights. Just think it's really important they know that right up front. I'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator and continue the children's current placement. And then I'll see everybody back for our initial permanency hearing on July 23rd of 2025. That's a 9 o'clock. Okay. All right. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.